a lot of the songs are just there to document the struggles and the triumphs and the failures in the past. They're documenting the history and telling the stories, great stories of great people, and
in a great way.
Who can be like to immortalise these people instead of these stories being forgotten about. Or especially in situations where Irish people would have died to fight for freedom of the country.
Irish culture has formed itself and still continues to involve a lot of different cultures, and especially from Ireland's long bloody history. Originally, humans from the southwestern Scotland inhabited Ireland. These people migrated to Ireland during the last Ice Age, where they were able to walk from the southwestern Scotland to Ireland due to a narrow passage of ice sheets covering the sea. For nearly 12,000 years, these humans were isolated, survived by hunting, gathering, holding livestock, and farming crops. After 9.5 millennium, Celtic influence began to take hold in the Irish culture, and several Celts migrated to the British Isles and Western Europe from the central of Europe. For the next 1,000 years, the Celts and Irish lived together, and the Irish still continued to adopt more and more of the Celtic culture. In 500 Anno Domini, St. Patrick made Christianity the main religion in Ireland, and a new culture was born. A mix between Christianity and the original Celtic art formed what should become the foundation of Irish culture through time. But it shouldn't be a peaceful period for the Irish people. For the next 500 years, Vikings and plagues terrorized the lands. In 1014, Brian Boru defeated the Vikings and marked a decline of Viking power in Ireland. After the defeat of the Vikings, several kings tried to take control over Ireland, but in 1171, Henry II officially declared Ireland as property of Britain. For nearly the next 750 years, Ireland remained British and entered a state of poverty and oppression. Famines and wars would mark the culture and inspire the music and literature that were and still is made today. The combination of the oppression of the Irish people and the Celtic and Christian influence in art spawned a unique culture that is nowhere else to be found in the world. The characteristic sound of Irish music lies especially in the ornamentation, the way the music is played, as this is where it really is possible to flavor the music and to express one's feelings. Another characteristic thing about the Irish music is the rhythms. The typical rhythms are the reel, which goes in 4/4, polkas in 2/4, hornpipes in 4/4, and the jig, which goes in 6/8. And they are mainly danceable rhythms that people can stomp along to while they cheer. Irish music is known for being repetitive, which means that the musicians repeat a catchy melody and make small changes as they go. This makes the music more alive, but has also resulted in a genre where few scales are used. The music is mainly in G or D major, but with the musicians being so detail-minded, one doesn't really notice this. One interesting fact about the traditional Irish music is that the instruments, scales, rhythms and melodies doesn't differ that much from the other genres, but it's the way that it's been played that characterizes this captivating genre, especially the way that the musicians handle their instruments.
We call it the buska ceol, which is the Gaelic or Irish word for the music box. It's called a button accordion, and because I'm from Dublin, I say button, but it's actually a button. Button is the English. Here we have the keyboard, and I'm a bit out of breath from running here, but on the right we have the keyboard, and the interesting thing about the button accordion in comparison with other types of accordion, like the piano accordion, is that when I push out on one button I get one note, and when I push back in on that button I get a different note. So that makes it extremely complicated, which makes me a genius.
The whistle is our main instrument, pretty much. So it's 2-octave instrument, so there's 6 notes you can see there, like a flute, and if you blow into it hard you get the second octave, so there's a good range.
This is a barrel. First of all, it's held upright like so, and nowadays we beat it with a kippeen. This is a kippeen. Kippeen is an Irish word, it means small stick. Now what used to happen was, if you were in Ireland 100 years ago, you would never see the music like this on the stage. It was always used for dancers. The dancing was the most important part, and we just accompanied it. Now if you go down to the south, down to Kerry, you hear a lot of polkas. Up in the north you hear lots of slides and strats music. But here in Dublin you hear mostly jigs. So a simple jig, as we were saying, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like this. If I want to put a double beat in, I use both ends of the stick, like this. And sometimes you see dancers will kick their heels in the air, and you get a sound like this. That's just whacking the stick off the edge of the wood. Now the left hand is very important as well. You'll see my hand moving inside when I'm playing. And that's where all of the expression comes from. Because when you stretch the skin, you get different tones from the drum. And the shape of your hand will give you different sounds. The stick is just for holding the wood together, to stop it warping. It's not for holding onto your hand, it's in here all the time. So without it, you get a sound like this. Which is interesting if you want to make a lot of noise, but as percussion, hold it in here and you get that soft sound.
But the biggest part of traditional Irish music isn't the theoretical part. It's the way the people feel about the genre and how it affects their feelings about the Irish heritage.
I guess I'm proud of Irish music because my father played Irish music for years and years, and when he was 10 or 11 and he was young and his family had no money, they gathered money especially for him. Aside from everyone else in the family, they bought him an Irish instrument, which cost, I'm not too sure how much money it was at the time, but they spent all the money they had so that he could learn this instrument. And then he went and learned it, and that kind of makes me appreciate it more, because I was given the opportunity to learn it too. So I guess that's why I'm really proud of playing Irish music, because his family worked really hard to help him to play Irish music. Irish music brings everyone together. Like you can find Irish music in almost every pub you go in Ireland, and people are there to listen to the music and to have a good time. I think when you're young you don't realise how important it is until you've become into your early adulthood and you realise how important it is. And I guess that's why the younger people now are taking Irish music more seriously and putting maybe a different twist on it too.
Is Irish music a part of your everyday life?
Like folk music?
Yeah, traditional? No.
No, just kind of at parties and sessions.
Yeah, okay, so you don't listen to it privately?
No.
Is traditional Irish music a part of your everyday life? Or do you have any connection with it at all?
No, well, not really. I mean, I listen to the Dubliners, I have it on my iPod, and a bit of Wolf Tones, because my dad grew up listening to them.
Okay.
So I know a bit of that, but I wouldn't listen to it every day.
Okay.
Okay, it's more like your father's generation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is traditional Irish music a part of your everyday life, or do you have any connection with it at all?
Yes.
Yes, it is a part, yeah.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah. Big connection. Yeah.
We listen to it and we play music and we sing Irish traditional songs.
And our children all play music, all play traditional Irish music.
Do you think that the tragic history of Ireland has, what can you say? It's really influenced. Yeah, has influenced the development of the sound, the distinguished sound of music.
Yeah, I think there's very, very lively Irish music, which that doesn't reflect the tragic history, but there is in the singing, and then some of the slow airs, the slow instrumentals would be very mournful.
A lot of those compositions of songs and slow airs that would be played on musical instruments would be composed, as a result of a particular event in the country. Like, for instance, the famine years ago in Ireland, and lots of songs were composed about that era. So you'd have the same with music. So that's going back, years.
So there is a big connection, but not all of the Irish music is related to that tragic period.
Oh, of course not.
Throughout history, the Irish people used music to hold their heads up. get together through difficult periods, and pass on stories from generation to generation. The music made them a nation because even though their past is marked by migration and immigration, the melodies are in the blood. Nowadays, most of the Irish people don't practice the traditional Irish music and hasn't got a strong bond with their national heritage. But if you dig a little into their opinion about it, you can still hear that they still have some feelings about the music. They can feel the sorrow and happiness and know that they are a part of a greater story told through sound and rhythm. People still gather today to enjoy that special feeling that is evoked when the traditional music is played.